Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone doing this Friday night? I know there's probably not going to be a lot of people watching, but hey, I think this is interesting. This one's for me mostly. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. It's uh, it's an unusual thing, probably because it's kind of a niche thing, and it'll be an interesting stream because I'm gonna sort of do some stuff talking about it. I might see if I can mess around with the browser too. Where I go look into it a little bit more, see if I can share my browser, share my browser window and stuff, and take a look into Onslaught. But today's stream is about, if you haven't seen the title, D&D Onslaught, which is something that most people have either not realized exists or don't care enough about it. Most people think D&D, they think the role-playing game. Most people don't even know about the pre-painted miniatures that Wizards has been making for like 20 freaking years. In fact, I don't know if WizKids even was the one making them back in the day. I think they might have been, but um, the fact is that pre-painted D&D minis have been a thing for like since like 2003, so over 20 years. So yeah, it certainly is a thing that's been around, starting with the DDM or Dungeons and Dragons miniatures game in the early 2000s, and ending in about 2011 with Lords of Madness, which ended the DDM miniatures game and the first round of pre-painted miniatures, being reborn again in I think like 2014, with the Icons of the Realms line, which was basically just pre-painted miniatures again, and that's continued on so far till about now, and it sort of had a few offshoots and special editions and things like that. But this is the first time it's actually, for the last few years, been split off into two separate games. This is Wizards' attempt at rebuilding the DDM game, in my opinion. And judging from the fact that I was able to get these, it's probably not going too hot. So, what is this? What is D&D Onslaught, you might ask? D&D Onslaught is the offshoot of the Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, which is designed around a miniature skirmish game, sort of like Warhammer, or I guess probably a better comparison would be War Machine, because it's basically a small scale skirmish game. And you have a party of adventurers based upon a different faction, and those parties have to compete to complete objectives. There's set adventures. There's a big box. This isn't all the Onslaught stuff I have. I have a bigger box too, called the Nightmare of Frogmire Coven, which is actually really cool. I bought it just for the big Froghemoth miniature that came with it. I love D&D pre-painted minis. I've been collecting them since basically they started selling them. So I have giant tackle boxes full of these things and shelves full of them, including a few, one of the gargantuan dragons from the first series, and a bunch of the other stuff from Icons of the Realms they've been making so far. But effectively, Wizards thought, well, after 4th edition failed, we still want these miniatures to not just be something for people to buy in blind boxes to add to their D&D collection. Why don't we try and make the game again? And a few years ago, they brought it back as Onslaught. And yeah, it hasn't been going so well because, like I said, these kits. So what are these exactly? These kits are designed for tournament play, and so they can be prizes specifically to be sent out to game stores to give out as prizes for tournaments. And so far, I've never seen any game store even offering a tournament. And they all say not for resale on any of these boxes, but they must be going pretty bad because I was able to buy the Mimic launch kit right from Wizards of the Coast's own website. Like, look at that. I bought this. I actually have a second one coming that I'm just going to keep sealed because these are going to be probably really rare down the line. They're like $20 if you want a bunch of mimics that are like super high quality, because they always do a good job on tournament prize minis. Then yeah, go on WizKids and buy one of these boxes because they're really cool. And once they're gone, there won't be any more. That's for sure. Oh yeah, I started putting a little plant in the corner of every one of my streams, and today's plant is, I'll zoom in on that. Pull that up. Today's plant is going to be, because it's a paradoxical thing, today's plant is Drosera Pedialaris complex paradoxa, because Onslaught is a paradox. So we have a paradoxical plant and a paradoxical game. So here you go, little guy. Just put you right there. There you go. Looks like a little truffula tree. I love this plant. I have two of them. One is gigantic. This one's smaller, but it's a pretty color. The sundew, yeah. Anyway, so I already opened this one. We'll take a look at the one that I already opened, then we'll unbox the others. I actually thought that I would see. Here we go. This is the Mimic. I will zoom in. That came with the launch kit. That's nice. Look at that. That's actually like one of the nicer Mimics that they've ever made. It's also bigger too. Like the other Mimic miniatures that they've made are small, really small. But not this one, baby. This one's big. Let's get look at that tongue. Oh my god. Yeah, get your mind out of the gutter. But yeah, not only do they have that, but they released 5 Mimics in the set plus like 12 of these cards. The Mimics were supposed to be the top 5 prize winners, and the cards were supposed to be for the top, I don't know, 12 or something people. The funny thing is my cards all came packed so tightly that they were warped. You can see there's some slight warping to the card. I bet that'll happen with these too. I bet the cards will be warped. But that is a really beautiful holographic effect, though. That's a nice card. I'm thinking about giving a few of these cards away to my friends eventually. So let's see. Still on? There you go. Whee! So let's spin that around, and then we will start unboxing. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. Okay. Go. So let's put this one aside right here. So this one, the launch kit, right there next to the plant. And let's open the first store support kit one. I know what's in each of these. I got these from Lazarus Games. They were the only ones that had them. They're already hard to find. There were some on eBay, but the prices were kind of crazy. This was the only reasonable price, and it was still like 60 bucks. I'm glad I got it, though. The only one I couldn't get was the one with the automatons, which I really want because they're all customizable, and they're large size, and they're gold, which looks really cool. But couldn't get it. Can't find it. It's long gone. It's probably going to be absurdly rare. I'm lucky I even got these. So, yeah, these are cool. So this is the Loot Goblin and Dralm set. And the Dralm are basically, I think they call them Tortles, which are the tortoise guys. So anyway, let's cut into this. Damascus steel. Yeah. Zoom in. Ooh, ah. So what we have? Lovely plastic-free packaging to save the environment. How friendly. How environmentally friendly, wizards. Oh, we've got more tape. We'll zoom out. Glove slipping. There we go. Gently. There we are. And if I disappear halfway through the stream, Wizards sent the Pinkertons to my house, so to arrest me. You know, I did definitely not beat the crap out of myself. You know. All right, so we have our turtles. Here, or Dralm, I guess, is what they're called now. I'll put this kit over here. Here's our turtles. Let's go up back to OBS. There we go. We have our turtles. Zoom in on that. go. That's pretty cool. Yeah, the paint jobs on these are a little shade nicer than the ones in the other blind boxes. These are cool. And it comes with 3 of them, I think. Here, that guy right there. Put the rest, because they're all going to be the same. Because these were for the top prizes. Would get the dralms. Those there. Down. I'll move the card over here. Should probably wipe that section off over there. And we'll just put that card there over by the beholders. We are. It's about to get very crowded. Here. All right, now for the second box. This is going to be the loot goblins. Oh, probably should zoom out again. Just that. There you go. And we have our loot goblins. Small size base. Draw them our medium size. So the loot goblins are small. Here, we'll just put that there. Let's zoom in on that. And then we'll put it on the plate. We'll plate it up. Delicious rustic loot goblin. He's tiny. These are nice, though. Paint jobs on them are very clean. Sorry, he's so small, it's hard to get a good grip on him. Autofocus. Focus, 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 focus. There we go. He's having a hard time. Come on, camera. Look at that. Very nice. Fine details. Yeah, that's nice. I mean, I think these are unique too. I don't think there are loot goblins in any of the other sets. So, and I think this came with quite a few of these. Yeah, holy crap. There's like 12 of them. One just went flying. All right. There's like so many of these. Look how many loot goblins you get. I'm going to design a scenario just around these guys. 6 loot goblins. 7, 9 loot goblins, and 3 drum. Let's push these guys to the edge because we're going to need to make some room because the second box. There we go. And then we have our, let's see, let's put these paper aside because we're going to put those back in the box. So we want to preserve that. We have our cards. They are warped. Look, I am correct. What the hell happened here? Was it heat? The hell are these cards always warped? Good God. What the hell? They're all chewed up. What the? I don't know if you can see that, but it's all like the miniatures inside the bags chewed up the front of the card. Look at that. That's horrible. If I got that as a tournament prize, I'd be pissed. Looks like a freaking dog got a hold of it. That's terrible. Ugh, that card is ruined. Gross. This one's fine. Just the top card. Wizards needs to like pack their crap better. At least when they were using plastic, you didn't have that as a problem. Good God. What is this? That's horrible. No wonder this failed. This is terrible. Oh, at least the miniatures are nice. Cards are warped and chewed up. At least the hollow effect is great. I mean, it's not like the best. It's no Pokemon. There's a lot of loot goblins, and they don't even give you ones for the drum, because I guess they just were supposed to be for the prizes, right? Or something. Let's take a look at the instructions and see what everything is supposed to be. Excuse me. They include documentation about how you're supposed to run the game in each box and the tournament, etc. We'll just put that right there. So let's see. And of course, the do not eat silica gel packets, which the government doesn't want you to eat because they don't know. They know what happens if you eat them. Is that you get to see into the future, and you gain true enlightenment. Okay, the kit contains. Thank you for your interest in this Dungeons and Dragons Onslaught store support kit. We hope this will provide a flexible and fun event to start building a community of D&D Onslaught players at your store. Well, that didn't happen. This kit contains 3 painted Cell Sword Turtle Fighter miniatures, 9 painted Loot Goblin miniatures, 9 foil Loot Goblin monster cards, and 1 orientation document and results sheet. This kit is intended to provide prizes for either a single-day event or over an extended period of time for league play. Both of these approaches are discussed below with some helpful suggestions for making your event a success. On the back of this sheet is a form for your players to fill out to track the results, not a separate sheet. On the back of the instructions. So if you want to do long play stuff like that suggests, you're going to lose your sheet. So also smart, but very environmentally friendly to have it on one sheet. Running a tournament. If you'd like to run this in a single day in-store event, here's some things to consider when preparing your space and recruiting players. Game of Onslaught is played on an 18 by 24 game board, and the players need room for their character cards and other game components. A 3 foot by 3 foot play area for each pair of players when planning a space for your tables. A game of Onslaught should take in the neighborhood of 90 minutes. Allow for a little time between rounds to collect results and establish pairings. They have a schedule, which has check-in from 10:45 to 11, game number 1 from 10 to 12, 11 to 12:30, a lunch break from 12:30 to 1, and 1 to 2:45 for 3 games. So basically from 10:45 to 5 p.m. is when these tournaments are supposed to go, which is relatively reasonable. But I don't know anybody who's going to play Onslaught for like 5 hours. All right. We suggest recruiting someone in your community to help you run the event. This person should be excited for the game, fun and dependable. They should not participate as a player, but receive prizes for their effort. This kit's designed for 8 players who 3 games each. Distribution for the prizes is organizer, 1 turtle, 1 loot goblin, and 1 card. The top 2 get the 1 turtle miniature each, and the participants who participate, everyone gets a loot goblin. That's why there's so many. Cool, and they get a card. The Swiss system to determine players are matched against others, simulate so not a round robin. Ratio of wins and losses over a set number of rounds. They should keep a record of the opponents. Then there's an entire league one. This is interesting. Your gaming space and player schedules let players get into a weekly rhythm. This week can be done for communicate over Discord. They mentioned Facebook and Discord. D&D Onslaught for in-store posters, league brackets. The kit is a month-long league. Imagine running a month-long league just to get a loot goblin as a prize. I think I'd leave. This is very, very optimistic on the part of Wizards for this. This is ooh. There's the sheet if you want to see it. That's very optimistic, and obviously, that didn't really succeed. Anyway, let's open the second box. This is the one I wanted the most. Here we have the support kit for the Skeletal Warriors and the Dread Warrior. This is the one I really wanted, because honestly, you'll see in a bit, the colors on the top prize ones. Here, let's zoom out so we can see me break the seal on this baby. That's what you're here for. You want to see that dirty seal breaking. Here, hear the click. Oh, there we go. And here we are. Oop. Huh? Oh, this box is really tight. Oh, wow. For this one, they actually have like a piece of, take a look at that. You can see it. They actually have a piece of cardboard to hold it in, unlike the loot goblins, which were packed very haphazardly. Maybe they had complaints. Anybody actually run a tournament, open one of these boxes and go send an angry letter to Wizards going, my cards were messed up. And here we have the, once again, also warped cards. These are even worse than the Mimic ones or the Loot Goblins. Look at that. That's seriously warped, but at least they're not chewed up this time. Oh, that's terrible. All right, so we have, gently over the top, we have our prize miniatures. There are 3 sets. The rest are given away to the lower. We'll read how they want you to distribute them, but we'll take a look at that. Look at that. They're actually really nice. But let's see. Let's see if we can pop these out without damaging them. I don't think so. I think you still have to cut this. I don't know how I even get these out. Let's see. Some of these are going to get stuck. Hope they can be removed without damage. Oh boy. How do you get that guy out? You wiggle him. Go. Same to you. Same to you. Pop them all out. Wiggle. Wiggle. There we go. One more. There we are. Now let's take a look at the real money shot here, which is the spectral ones. Well, actually, we'll take a look at the regular set first. We only need to do one of each. So let's zoom in. We have the skeleton halfling, probably a rogue of some sort. Once again, these tournament prizes are really nice. Like, look at that. That's so nice. The painting is actually pretty good for a pre-painted miniature. A lot of the pre-painted miniatures had splotchy, smudgy paint jobs, globs of glue, faces that you can't tell what the heck they are, details obscured. But these tournament prize ones are always pretty good. All right. There we go. That was the skeletal, was it halfling? This says skeletal warrior, but it's a halfling. Or maybe a kobold, I don't know. Somebody said this was a drow. I just think it's like an elf of some sort. It looks like it's got skeleton boobies, so it's obviously formerly a woman. Skeleton of Callista Flockhart. Sad. I could make another nastier comment, but I don't think I want to get, got. Anyway. Look at that. That's not bad. Like, I've had a lot of skeleton miniatures. This one's pretty cool. All right, now we have, this is definitely an orc. We have the orc. Yeah, these are cool. He's bulky. He's got like a rusted sword or a spear, broken spear. Looks like a broken spear. Yeah, it's like a fucking stick. That's cool. I like the way that the ribcage hangs over the waist. That's very nice. It's a cool miniature. All right, and then finally, probably my favorite of the whole set. We have these, and probably the one that people want the most. We have the skeletal dragonborn. Yeah, this one's the coolest. That red cloak, the red coat, and the way he's holding the dagger are just, yeah, that's snazzy. Everybody likes dragonborn, and this is a particularly cool one. If I walked home with this, I'd be happy. Heck, I'd be happy with the orc. The halfling, I'd probably feel like, well, whatever. It's probably the lowest prize. I'll take a look at the instructions later. But what you're really here for is these. Let's start with the halfling again. Spectral ones are dread warriors. Let's see. Come on. Can't even see him. He's too invisible even for the camera. Come on. There we go. Now look at that paint job. Not so much a paint job, it's just a really nice mold coloring. Sort of a light spectral green going up to a dark with like yellow highlights on the eyes. Yeah, that's cool. I love that color. That is so cool. That's what got me into this. I grabbed the Loot Goblin and Turtle set just because I'm like, hey, might as well get all three right now. Because there's not going to be any more. So yeah, I definitely want this. I wanted this because this is so cool. Look at that. That is cool. And then, of course, we'll move on to there's only 4 of these. These are supposed to be for the top players. And the only way you get all 4 is if you're like me and bought the set under the table. So if there was an actual tournament, you would only get 1. So yeah, there's no way to get the whole set unless you buy it. So if you really like these, I think there's still a few more left at Lazarus Games. So not sponsored, by the way. just where I got them. Here we have the drow. Like, looks even more spooky now because it's all half spectral. Definitely cool. I don't know if the leaning back is probably just something I could fix with a. I think that's actually supposed to be how it's supposed to be. Yeah, yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. Not bad. Cool. That's neat. Now for the orc, which I really like this one. This was the second favorite out of the whole set, for sure. Look at that. That is cool. Very awesome looking sculpt. And that spectral green just shows up, just pops supremely on camera right there. That detail. That's very cool. Come on, focus, 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 focus. There we go. Here we are, nice and crisp. Look at that. That's all right. And of course, the one that I think was the best is once again the best again. No surprise. Skeletal Dragonborn, the Dread Warrior Dragonborn. I mean, I use this thing in Hero Quest. This is cool. Look at this. Ooh, ah. Look at that. That's cool. Very fancy. That is definitely the coolest of all of them. Look at the eyes. Let's see if we can get a good shot. The yellow eyes pop pretty well on this. It's hard to see them, even at close up. But I don't know. This is definitely the best of all of them, in my opinion, though. This would probably have been the #1 prize, I think. I think everybody would have been fighting over this one if this actually was a game that anybody played. All right. Well, I'm going to load these onto here and just make it spin, and I'll talk a little bit about Onslaught. Maybe look at the cards some more. So, here we go. At center. We'll just put them in the order that they came in. A little bit. Nice thing is these didn't come warped. Like a lot of these miniatures, D&D miniatures, need to be hit with a hair dryer. They come warped. I'll read the organized play stuff for this now. That back, and we'll take a look at the card, and then we'll put it all back. That over there. Away. Here we go. Here we have one of the cards for the skeletons. Just for posterity, we'll take a look at it. We'll hold the bottom so I don't get that shadow. We'll have to zoom in. Here's the card for the skeleton. Holographic effect isn't as strong here, but it still looks good. Cards have always had impressive holographic effects after the last, like, I don't know, 10 years or so. Ever since card collecting and pack opening has become, I hate to say it, a grift, but yeah, it is a grift. Sorry. To all those people who open Pokemon packs on stream, I apologize, but also I kind of don't. A lot of people love it, but a lot of people are just doing it for the money. It's not your fault, but the hobby has been totally taken over by people who are just doing it so they can like get the money from it rather than anything actually passionate. Is there is there actually like a tournament play rule set in this thing? Because I don't see one. There wasn't one in the box. Holy shit. Did they forget one? I think they was this just supposed to be a support kit? Bro, I don't think there was a tournament rule set in here. Yeah, it was just the miniatures. Did they forget? Or they were hoping that you would have one left over from your previous Onslaught support kit that wasn't filled out by your players. Okay, dokie. Yeah, they didn't include one. That's weird. Either that or it fell on the floor, but I don't see it, and I didn't see one fall out. So yeah, if you use this instead of, keeping it, and it doesn't also, which is trouble, it doesn't tell you how to distribute the miniatures either, because this one has suggestions for those miniatures, but not for the other ones. But I'm just a little wizard. I don't know anything. What do I know? I'm not a Wizards of the Coast arch wizard executive. Arc wizard, I'm just some guy on the internet who's pointing out the fact that they completely mismanaged this. But then again, it's just one of many things that have been mismanaged around D&D. I'd say this is pretty minuscule. It's too bad because it's actually a really cool idea and a really cool game. This stream will, of course, not be noticed by anybody because nobody's watching. But hey, if anybody ever finds it, it'd be interesting to hear somebody's point of view on this. Especially if they work at Wizards. I will take, as I did with the Mimic, I'll take one card out and then just store the rest. But I'll keep the miniatures. I have a place to put them. Like with the Mimics, I found a place for that. Take one card out. The rest back in. Goblin. Definitely don't want to take that one that's... Well, you know what? I'll take the chewed out one because I think it's funny. Just shove these back in there because Wizards wasn't exactly giving too much of a crap about those either. So, yeah. That's nice. Lovely. Just stack those up in the corner. Oh, there goes the laptop. Burp, burp, burp. We have loot goblins on the left. Clowns to the left of me. Jokers to the right. Here I am, a mimic in the middle with you. There we go. And the skeleton one, actually, that back in its box. No store support kit. Oh, what? There are Dread Warrior ones on the back. They're actually on the back. Oh, that's cool. So if you got a skeleton, you can make him into a Dread Warrior. Oh, and the Dread Warrior, which is the arguably more cool one, did not get a holographic effect. Well, how about that? Hey, I just finished unboxing everything. So what's up? So I'm just gonna talk about this because for you to catch up, I just finished unboxing the D&D Onslaught cards and miniatures, and the cards were all warped. They're missing a rule set for one of them, and like the other rule set implied, that that you could give them over a couple of months, so which I don't think is very ideal for this. Oh my god, what a disaster! I mean, it's not the worst I've seen. Like, it's up there. It's pretty sad. We'll zoom in on the miniatures. But yeah, like I really like these. These are pretty cool. I just think that it's sad that, that they ended up kind of botching this game. Cuz then again, like I said, Wizards hasn't been doing too well. They've been they've been messing with Magic and all that stuff with all their crossovers. It's not like Wizards has managed any of its properties particularly well. Mage Knight had a board game that you can't even get anymore. Um, Mech Warrior, the Mech Warrior Clicks game, less said about that. That game is so dead and buried, it's not even funny. The miniatures go, depending, except for like two of them, most of the miniatures go on eBay for like nothing. But yeah, my opinion is that, like, if they really wanted to bring back the miniatures game, they should have just brought back the rules but updated for 5th edition instead of this weird format that nobody understands. I know they were trying to like integrate it into like the 5th edition architecture. There isn't much like information about the design process behind this game. It's all very weird. There's not much info about this game at all. It's weird. It's like it came out and it was forced out and then nobody really knew. I think they were trying to make a competition for like small scale beer and pretzel style war games, like Warhammer 40K, or I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure who this was for. Whatever it wasn't for anybody in particular, otherwise it would have sold. It's strange. It's truly weird. Is it grid based? Yeah, it's based on a 24 by 18 grid based combat. Like, I read the rules earlier. I will bring out the rule set that was in the first support kit that is right here. I will bring that out. But all the boxes were supposed to include a rule set that taught about how to like release the prizes, allot the prizes, and like do league play and stuff. Because these kits were supposed to be sent to stores, and because every box is marked with and I'll show you, not for resale. Okay, not for resale. And they were supposed to be sent to stores with prizes distributed. And I hunted these down because I first found them because I was buying something on the WizKids store, because they have awesome stuff there. I highly recommend looking at it if you're into D&D at all, because they always have pre-painted miniatures and have sales. So you get yourself a Tarask that's normally like $450 for like $200, and it's gigantic. But I noticed that they were selling launch kits for this game right here on the WizKids store. Like, they're huge. I'm not saying they're huge. They were just selling them. The ones with the Mimic here and the Mimic card right here. This beautiful Mimic card. They include 5 Mimics and then like 12 cards that were supposed to be drawn, and the rules for the league play, including how to distribute the prizes and all that stuff. But like, this is the one for the loot goblins, which includes the league play. I'll read it out a little quick to give you an idea of what this game is. D&D Onslaught. Basically, it's the game of Onslaught is played on an 18 by 24 game board, and the players need room for their character cards and other game components. It's a 3 foot by 3 foot play area for each pair of players. So 4 players on a table with 2 boards. And basically they would offer, like, they use a Swiss system tournament and then a few other things. They're matched against each other, and then they wanted a tournaments format where basically like a 5-hour tournament, like, so 11 o'clock to 5 o'clock, so 6-hour long tournaments, and the prizes would be distributed as the organizer gets freaking prizes. They get the organizer would get one of the big turtles, one of the big turtle guys here, a loot goblin, and a card. And like the rest of them, the top 2 will get the rest of the turtles. They're split. The turtle fighters are split between the top 2. And then the rest of them, everybody who comes in gets a loot goblin. But they have rules for league play. Like, it's a skirmish game where people run a party of adventurers and then have like a skirmish based on objectives. And there's actually like a couple of box sets with scenarios too. Like I said, I have a box with what's one of my favorites, which had a big customizable frog hemoth miniature that I repurposed for my own game. That had a bunch of really beautifully made miniatures in it, but it's all for Onslaught, and you need like a starter set, and then you need other stuff to do league play. It's just, this game is, I couldn't figure out what it is. Nobody else could. And obviously, not a lot of people at all could figure it out. It's very paradoxical. And that's why WizKids themselves is selling their not for resale tournaments launch sets that were supposed to be um only for the like stores to buy. And now the launch set with the mimics is easy to get. You can just go on the WizKids site. I had to hunt down the other two. They never sold these, or if they did, I never saw them, which was the Loot Goblin and the Dread Warrior skeleton set. But see, the Loot Goblin have the Turtle on the other side too. Nope. The Turtles have no stat cards too. Or if they did, I didn't see them. Let's take a look actually. I didn't look, but I don't think the Turtles, the top 3 Turtles had cards. So I guess you're just supposed to guess what the stats are supposed to be to use them in league play. And like I said, all the cards are warped too. Every set, the cards are warped. Let's see. Nope. All the cards are for Loot Goblins, so the Turtles have no cards. The Dread Warrior set had no instructions for prize distribution or league play or anything. I don't know what the heck the difference between a store and they're both store support kits, so they should have come with league play rules. So like, there's stuff that didn't come with anything, stuff that just didn't exist. The fact that they're selling these kits online, you know, a few years ago this would have been a big scandal, but these days there's so much stuff going on in the world that nobody gives a crap about some tiny D&D skirmish game quietly bleeding out in the corner. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that's what they wanted to do, because there's a lot of people who just like the combat, which is what DDM was for back in the early 2000s. DDM was all about like the combat stuff. It was just D&D and 3.5 edition skirmish combat, and was given out with blind boxed miniatures that were designed around league play. It was genius, and it's sold really well. And some of those miniatures now sell for incredible amounts of money. Like the Hero Slayer Hydra from Lords of Madness, which was like 1 per every 2 or 3 cases, or Mephistopheles, or any of those other big Lord of Cania, or hell, even some of the bigger minis from those sets just sell for crazy amounts of money. Or God help you if you want any of the winter special edition miniatures that were given out to WizKids Wizards employees, like Snowball the Beholder, or the Winter Nog Goblin, or what was it called? I think it was like supposed to be like a demon or something. Like one of those, which there were only like a few of them because they were only given to Wizards employees. They sell for hundreds and hundreds of dollars online, since they were basically only given out to the employees. So they're quite rare. But like, they could have had a lot with this, and some of the older, but they keep reissuing the sets for the current blind box stuff called Icons of the Realms. So there aren't too many of those that are worth a fortune, except for the 50th anniversary chase figures, and like one of the later set chase figures that were like super short packed, like one or two per like 2 cases. Like the first edition chase figures that go with the Red Dragon, like the Green Knight, the Blue Wizard, the Paladin, and the Fiend, or any of the D&D animated series figures like Venger or the Dungeon Master, or any of those characters, or Uni or whatever. If you like the D&D TV show from the 80s, those are pretty rare. But like otherwise, those were both basically just marketed to people who wanted to play the role-playing game. But like you said, this was something that's actually a really cool idea, and the game is really cool. But I think they didn't know how to market it because they didn't know how to explain what the hell it was. Even I couldn't figure it out. I just saw the miniatures on the Minis Gallery website and thought they looked cool, and ended up buying the box for the Frogmire Coven, and thinking, well, this is awesome. This is a really beautifully made custom miniature with a cool map and a cool setting and an interesting scenario. But it's for a game I don't know how to play. I don't have anybody to play it with because I don't know anybody who's going to play it. And I need a starter set or 2 starter sets to even play this extra scenario. So everything in this set is shelf warming hard. I don't know any store that runs this game, and that's why these kits are showing up everywhere. Not everywhere. They're honestly still not distributed that much. So I know these things will probably be worth crazy amounts of money in the future if anyone gives a crap about them at all, for D&D fans. I don't think so. I don't know if this is on Tabletop Sim. This is a weird game, man. Like, I don't know anybody who knows anything about this. In fact, like if you look it up, there's people unboxing stuff about it, but there's hardly any content about it on YouTube. So I feel like I'm the only one who was interested enough to hunt these down. And these box sets were not super cheap either to find because they're for, and there was a box set that I couldn't get, the one I really wanted, which here, hold on. I'm going to see if I can add a window here to OBS to capture my, let's see, display capture, window capture, add existing. Can I, is it going to appear? I'm still having a little bit of trouble with OBS. Ironically, it'd probably be, here, let's try this. Browser, here we go. You gonna let me? Oh, here we go, create new. That's not what I'm looking for. Okay, here. Let's go look at, this is dumb. I don't think I want to use OBS's browser window capture. I think I'll use a, use game capture, ironically. Can I do that? No, it's looking for apps. There's got to be a better way to do this. Do I have to use their browser capture? Let's see. Okay. I hate this because this makes it horribly awkward because it's gonna be like, I'll have to figure this out. But here. Just copy it like this. This is stupid. Here. This sucks, but here we go. How do I even like navigate this? Because it's not actually showing a browser window. It's just showing this. Yeah, we're getting rid of this. This sucks. There's got to be a better way to capture the window. We'll just do window capture. Create new. Here we go. Perfect. Here we go. Google Chrome. Here we are. See, this is D&D Onslaught. Let's see news. Gen Con 2023. The last update was for Gen Con 2023. At this point, almost 3 years ago. Like, look at that. That's crazy. This is wild. Piece of Benefactor Scenario Kit. Oh, look, they have designer diaries. Let's see. Like, these are the Red Wizards. This was one of the faction sets. Next summer. Look, it looks like they put a lot of work into this. All the stuff stops here at Gen Con 2023. Maybe they stopped producing it totally? The Death Place Scenario. See, they have kobold skeletons. They had packs of like, here, let's go to Minis Gallery. I like this website. You want pre-painted miniatures? You go here, and you go to the retail stuff. There was something last year, 2 years ago at this point now. In August 2024 was the last release of these. Like, there just isn't much. Let's see. I'm going to make it so that my model's on the front. You're always at the top. There you go. I'll shrink you a little bit. There you are. Interesting, though. Let's just put that in the corner so you can still see the minis. Ah, forget it. Right there. But like, look at that. That's interesting, right? Okay. So you've got all the different like other miniatures that were from the retail releases, as you can see. You have like the Zentarim and the Red Wizards and the Harpers. and each faction was supposed to do its own thing. And then there's the core set, which you're just supposed to buy to start off, and this wasn't cheap either. And then you had the store support kits, like the promo miniatures, which was the mimic that these are the ones that they call them ultra rare. But this was the ones that I got: the Loot Goblin, the Drum, and the Mimic. And then they had the preview kit, which I never found and didn't really care enough to hunt, which had Grapple Shanks, a couple goblins, some Dragonborn, and the Lightning Dancer. And then this is the one I really wanted, but I could not find anywhere. Like, where are you going to find this? Yeah, I know. They didn't market this. I wish I could have found these. Let's see. Here we go. Let's see what's on eBay for D&D Onslaught. Like, they don't have the store support kits. You've got Zentarum, you've got the board game, Lycan Lich, which apparently must be really rare because it's selling for a lot in Canada. Yeah, maybe Lycan Lich must be really rare. Let's see if I can find it. WizKids is selling it for $100. That's way too much. Look at how much these sets are. That's freaking crazy. I know they have like painted miniatures, but that's ridiculous. You know, that's like a lot of money for this. And what I really would like is oh, see, somebody's actually selling the promo figures of just the cell swords for $15 each, which isn't bad considering how much I paid for them. Let's see what else we've got. Yeah, here's the whole sword support kit with the Loot Goblins for $70, which is still. I really wanted the one with the pisses me off. I really wanted the kit with the automatons, or I guess what they call them is the arcane construct, which was called Storyline OP Pack. Let's see. See, there was a second version of the ancient construct, which is $40, and comes with a single construct in silver and all the parts. Different from the regular Warforged. Yeah, these are large size. Like, it says medium, but that's wrong. No, these are large. These are large size minis. I feel bad for minis galleries. They've got too much to keep up with. Back in the day, they had one set at a time, but now Wizards are releasing so many things that they can hardly keep up with. Between this guy, these are in Pathfinder. There's just so much. It's crazy how much they have to keep up with. But, yeah, and then they had the preview kit, and then they have these. These are all the store stuff, the retail releases. And then here's the one I bought, Frogmire Coven, which, look at these. These are cool miniatures. You get the whole Froghemoth, and these tentacles are detachable. That's what's crazy about all the Onslaught minis. All of them a lot of the bigger ones are customizable. Like, every tendril and the eye stalks are detachable and can be put onto these little stems to make them look like they're underwater. And this whole set came with the maps, they came with cards, they came with tiles to be played in a scenario. All of these are really cool. Lycan Lich I might actually try and get and just talk about it. I'm going to be freaking D&D Onslaught's biggest defender. Like, the Lycan Lich is cool. Look at that. That's a cool miniature. We'll take a look back, and I'll show you what I mean about the old DDM set. This is the DDM set from. Here's the promos that I was talking about, like the special releases. I have this. I have the Beholder's Collector's set. This was released in 2010. Great shareholders with something good comes out of the shareholders getting pissed for mismanaging. Yeah, I hope they would get pissed at him too. They mismanaged the movie too. The D&D movie was amazingly good, and they screwed the pooch so hard on D&D that people didn't go and see it out of protest. And it sucks because that movie was amazing and it flopped. Makes me sad. Here's the holiday stuff. These are each absurdly rare. Snowball, the Spike Nog, the Snow Angel, the Winter Humber Ulk. With your Humber Hulk, the Umber Hulk. Um, but like each of these is worth a crap ton. I wonder if I can find them. Oh, let's see. Spiked Nog. What you want to do? See, I had to see because people play D&D with all the time. Yeah, I know, right? It's a good. Yeah, it is. Let's see. Sold items. Yep. Nobody has sold one of these in a while. Let's see. Snowball. Yeah, nobody sold. Older. He's just a redone Eye of Frost. Oh, somebody painted the old Goth Gazer miniature. Interesting. Baleful Beholder. What about? Yeah, nobody sold the Snow Angel. Oh, shut up. Get away from that. I know exactly what you are. Mute. I freaking ban that thing. Get out of here, robot. Silence. Whatever. I'll fix it later. At least I know how to recognize them now. Cheap viewers. Yeah, you're trying to say, yeah, you suck. You have nobody watching you, so go buy some viewers. No thanks. I don't mind not having viewers right now. That's not the point. Believe me. But yeah, like you have all of these. They had the scenario packs. You had a starter set that was meant to be played with like this is the old DDM game. If they had done this like this, it might have been popular. Like these were what was really popular. You can see well back in 2003. This is Harbinger. You can see these sculpts kind of suck and they look terrible. You can't tell what they are most of the time. They look kind of awful, ugly. Like that Wraith is absolutely supposed to be one of the Nazgul from Lord of the Rings. It looks like they pulled it right off of it. 2003, obviously. Somebody in there was watching it. A lot of these miniatures look like somebody watched Lord of the Rings back then and was like, wow, I'd love to make some of these based on that. But these were classic. Like these are iconic at this point for some people who remember the early 2000s D&D miniatures. Some of them are good, like the Kuoto. I have a bunch of these. But there's a huge increase past Dragoneye. Dragoneye is all right. There's still some decent looking ones, but most of them look a little fuzzy. Look how tiny the first Black Dragon miniature is. It's so small. Like, it is really tiny. All the original dragons are really, really small. But you have some obscure stuff even in these. Even back then. 3.5, they really went deep even on some of the originals like Thayan Knights. Around the time I finally people. Yeah, 3.5 was around the time I started playing as well. Now Archfiends, you can see a dramatic increase in the quality of the sculpts around now. This was my first ever D&D miniature, was this one, the Goth, which is, I didn't even know. I thought it was an actual beholder and not a little mini one. I thought it was so cool. I thought it was like a named character. I didn't realize a Goth was like a Gouth is a smaller beholder. The Ochre Jelly is hilarious. It's just some dude getting eaten. The Cursed Spirit's a good one. I have that. There's a couple I really wish I had. I don't have the Vampire Aristocrat. I have the I think the Abyssal Eviscerator. I don't have the Aspect of Demogorgon. The Unicorn is interesting. Clay Golem. And then around the time of Giants of Legend is when things get really good. I have terrible quality scans of these. It's hard to see them. But like I could go and grab a couple from my box, but I'm not going to right now. But some of these are amazingly well sculpted. Like that Blue Slad was one of the ones I bought secondhand from my shop. That Lord Soth was one of the first appearances of him in a miniature. That's a really good mini. And to be fair, the modern Lord Soth that they sell on their website is awesome, except it's a heavily flawed one. Here, let's go and find him. Here he is. Oh, he's on sale. Not a bad price. You see how the wings are on this? They're supposed to be much higher up. Like, you can tell that they're supposed to be higher up. But as this miniature exists in the physical realm, these wings have to be attached out of the box. They come in a package of blister wrap, second to the dragon. And Lord Soth here you can split him in half and have him sit on the greater death dragon. But these wings have to be attached, which is stupid because almost none of the other dragons have that. You can even see in the pictures that the wings are drooping bit by bit. Over time, this little piece here is so thin and this wing is so freaking heavy that it will droop over time, no matter what you do, regardless of heat, regardless of anything, and it will just slowly droop. You can even see it's drooping in this very like sequences of pictures over time. You can see it starts up higher, it droops, probably because the lights they used were hot enough to just like soften that plastic just enough. And you can even see that his like little torch here is like drooping too because it's so heavy. This is an awesome miniature, but it is heavily flawed. The wings will droop no matter what you do. Lord Soth doesn't like to sit. His sword droops. It's got erectile dysfunction. he's got difficulty, executive dysfunction with his sword, which is too bad because it's a really cool mini. You can like literally have him separate from the dragon or have him sitting on it. I have one, and I have a stand to hold up the wings so it doesn't droop. Like, he's also too far to the right. Like, he's supposed to be centered, but they didn't quite seat him properly on his seat there because he splits at the waist. Yeah, the people taking the pictures in these promo pics hardly ever know what to do with them. But yeah, like, it's still a great miniature. Not only that, if this thing, I don't know if this is something that just happens over time or if it got just a little bit of sunlight exposure, but my first one, because I rebought him later, and gave the one to my friend. But like my original one, that lovely metallic purple turned into a Barbie magenta, like a freaking translucent magenta, as that metallic purple just like pigment must have faded either from just bad construction or like maybe it got a little too much sunlight, and even though there's not much sunlight that makes it into my room, like only a little bit because I opened my like blinds a little. A little natural light's okay, but it's filtered through like freaking UV glass, doubly filtered. So I have no idea. So this thing is a great miniature with a lot of flaws. There you go. That sucks. Let's see what's actually on sale here. Here, Dungeons and Dragons. Of course, they're gonna do the Nulzers. I actually wanted this Tree Blight. That thing's cool. Yeah, here we go. Gargantuan Tiamat. This thing's been sold out, so I don't think it's actually available. Oh, this is blister packs. These are singular ones. A lot of this stuff sold out. Pre-painted, 15 pages of pre-painted miniatures. There's a lot of Pathfinder and a lot of stuff from God, what's it called? Critical Role. Yeah, there's a lot of freaking Critical Role stuff here, which some of those minis are great especially if you want to just repurpose them. I don't care enough to like care about Critical Role enough to like understand what each of them is because I don't have any idea where to start. I watched like the first season of it. But I just think some of them look cool and are great to use as proxies. Same with the Pathfinder stuff, even if you don't actually use them. Yeah, I never watched Critical Role much. This is the original classic Monsters box set this came out around the time of Stranger Things. They still have the page for it, but this thing's been sold out for years. Of course, it has Demogorgon in it. They're like, yeah, here, you want a Demogorgon miniature, kids? Here you go. But I was hoping they'd have like their Gargantuan stuff. Sometimes they have the Gargantuan here. Sort by price, high to low. There it is. Oh, they sold out. Yeah, see, they've sold out of Tiamat. This is huge, by the way. This thing is like freaking 10 feet across. Yeah. This is, the live play stuff. A lot of people really liked it. This is a huge miniature. It's gigantic. Yeah, 28 inches wingspan and 14 inches tall. Oh, this was a collector's edition box. They would make these, which is cool, which is the whole set of minis pre-painted instead of through having to buy all the packs, but they just charge an insane amount of money. This was probably a couple $100 to get all the miniatures in one box. The only one that was worth it, in my opinion, was the Dungeon of the Mad Mage or whatever. Oh, you've seen the Witchlight box? Interesting. And these are cool. I love these Kid Robot first edition ones. I bought a couple of them. This is the first set. Oh, the Tiamat? Oh, you've seen it? Oh, okay. Yeah, it's huge. I think my game store has one too. I think they have one for sale and one that they opened. Gotta have one of those on display. That's how you get them. People are like, well, how I want one of those? And then I see the price and it's like $300. Oh, they have the big ass white dragon tree raiser for $100. He was like $50 on Amazon recently. Oh wow, they have the Chartland dragon too. They have everything. I told you they have like everything on here. So if you're interested in looking for stuff that's D&D related, this place is the one to go to because they restock frequently. So if you're looking for something that's old and possibly out of print, you can find it. See what I mean? Like, even if you don't like Critical Role, here's a freaking dragon turtle. Probably the best sculpt dragon turtle you're going to find. Doesn't matter that it's a specific character from Critical Role. It's still a really good looking mini and makes for a great encounter. Like, this thing is very specifically from Critical Role, but still looks awesome. I'd throw this at my party even though I have no idea where it's from. Big ass looking snake monster thing with like 6 arms, like a Garleon or whatever. I forget what those are called. Hey, this is available. This is probably the most accurate Greek Hydra. The Polukranos, which is a magic crossover. This is super cool because this is probably the closest to the Greek mythological Lernian Hydra. Yep. Yeah, and this is like the closest you're going to find to the Lernian Hydra in I like D&D style Hydras, which are like the Dragon's Dogma style Hydras. And there, of course, you have all your dragons. Ooh, wow. I should get another adult black dragon. Mine has broken pieces. All of these adult dragons are awesome. I just got the green dragon. I had bought it as a reward for myself to and the Mimic Colony. This is a little overpriced, but it is super cool. Look at this. You get like a whole bunch of different mimics. You get like a flower pot mimic. You get a barrel, a chair, a table, a traditional mimic, and then a giant mimic. And you get a bear rug mimic, which is hilarious. They're definitely fun. Some of those are cool. Then you get like the war bands. And then of course you have all that more Critical Role stuff. Wait, what? Here's a Dungeons and Dragons scale gas station. What is this freaking train station, model train scale, HO scale miniature? Seriously, this looks like HO scale stuff you'd find in a hobby store for trains. Why is this here? There's all this like D&D stuff, but then there's just a random gas station. Okay. I see you. A lot of this stuff is sold out. Like I said, all but the Critical Role stuff. A lot of the shit's sold out. Let's see. What else do they got? They have the Archdevil series. There's so many. I love this. The Purple Worm is cool. The Elder Brain. Basically, you've got all sorts of cool stuff you can see that they sell on here. I'm not shilling. I'm just saying, like, if you want D&D stuff, this place is cool. But Mini Gallery is cool. As you can see, the quality of these miniatures goes up over time, and they had some pretty obscure stuff. Like, I think Warduke shows up. I don't know where. I think he's here. I just can never find him. Here's Mordenkainen, War Chanter, Lida Adventure, Deep Shadow Elf, Redgar. Yeah, I love mimics, and that's my opinion. Here, we'll go back to the camera here. Let's make this down a layer. Here we are. Like, we'll go back here and we'll just show off the mimic that came with the set. So, like, actually, before I do that, here we'll raise it up one, and I will not know you. This There. We'll go back here and I'll see if they're still available. Here. How many of these are still available or they finally sell out of the mimics? Let's see if they have them. If they do, I will recommend you buy them because, like, even if you don't run a game with miniatures, they're fun to have. And they give you 5, so you can just give them to friends. Yeah, there's a Star Trek Minis game. There it is. Still, hey, up, it's still available. Here, look, here's your organized play kit. Congratulations, you're a game store now if you buy this. Look at that. Never need to run an in-store event. You don't even to verify that you're a game. You could just buy it. Go. And then here is said miniature from the game that is there. Boop. Yeah, here we go. Here is the miniature from that box set right here. Yeah, there you go. Look at the size of it too. It's big. Most Mimic miniatures are about half the size of this thing, if that. Like, and the paint job is nice because it's supposed to be a tournament prize. You're supposed to play and win this thing, so they want to make it look nice. So yeah, $20, $25, and you get 5 of these plus a bunch of holo cards that you can just give out. You can see how much faith Wizards had in this, considering. Yeah, I'll go take a look at that. Like Star Trek game. Yeah, they had a Star Trek miniatures game a while ago. I don't know if it was any good. Like, they had a whole bunch of them with different factions and stuff. I have no idea if it was any good. I think it was called like Attack Wing and then Into the Unknown. Here's your Enterprise D if you want it. I mean, in my opinion, it looks a lot like the old Star Wars Armada game, which I'm sad I didn't pick up some of those ships because they were super cool. And now they're probably really expensive. Here. Armada Chimera. See how much. Oh my god, $150, and that was sold. See how much that is now. Yeah, holy shit, that's expensive for an opened one. Like, these used to be super cheap, and now because Armada's out of print, these are some of the best like scale miniatures for Star Wars. And they made a Star Trek one too. Honestly, that's not bad. I'm kind of just would just buy this. I don't care about like the miniatures that came with it. Oh, this is like a 3D printed one, not the actual one. Yeah, that's the actual one, I think. There's the official. Nope, that's not that one either. That was a 3D printed one. The actual one's painted. All these were pre-painted. Like, see, these Armada things are long out of print, so they're worth a friggin' fortune. Huh. And 3D printed. The only way you get Armada stuff is either pay a lot for the box ones, or you know, get them 3D printed. So that sucks. Let's see, Andy Onslaught. Let's see if there's still any. What's just available for Onslaught? See, they don't actually even have anything. It's all like crappy pre-painted miniatures. So, and like cannibalized tournament prize kits, just like mine. And you get some Transformers in there. But like when it comes to Onslaught, I feel like Wizards just gave up before they even had a chance. There's Aberrations. Let's see. This was the set that got me into them. I pulled this Mind Flayer Telepath from a box I got at the local BX. They had these at the local BX, packs of them, and I bought one randomly and pulled one of the rarest miniatures out of it. I still have that Mind Flayer as well. But this was the second miniature I ever bought, this Wanty Abomination. Like, can you see my mouse cursor? I'm curious. Can you see it? I'm trying to see if you can actually see it. Yeah, you can see the cursor. Cool. But like, they should have tried to capture the appeal of this. but maybe that was a zeitgeist thing. PC game called Star Trek. Yeah, I remember playing Armada, and I even played that one that is now abandoned, where you could just download for free called Legacy, which I don't know if you can even get it to work anymore. But I liked Armada. I liked Legacy. Those were good Star Trek games. But yeah, these were all really fun miniatures for D&D. Let's see. Let's see. Angel Fire, Underdark. Time is it? You know what? It's about 9. I've been streaming for almost 2 hours. So I'm glad you showed up. Um, Thanks for hanging out and chatting for a while. It was really cool just talking to you about D&D and stuff. So I am going to call it a night because I want to give my poor lizard some rest because he's probably having a freaking heart attack right about now. Like, oh my God, it's like a freaking, oh, get rid of that. What? Yeah, well, I'll show you one last shot of these miniatures so you can get a look at them, and then I'll call it a day if you haven't already left. Um, these, like, take a look though. Those ones with the sculpt. All right, yeah, take a look at like the sculpt ones with like the ones over here in the middle because they're really cool. Like the spectral ones, like these are pretty cool. They had something cool with D&D Onslaught. I just don't understand how they. I mean, I shouldn't say I don't understand. It's just Wizards just mismanages everything. I guess that's the lesson here to take from it is just like these really cool miniatures, and they just completely just lost it. They lost the plot. So sad, very sad. But look at them. I mean, talk about wasted potential, I guess. Then again, there's a lot of crap going around lately. You know, this is an interesting time to be a VTuber, that's for sure, let alone a streamer. Everybody's up each other's butt about something, you know. Here I am just talking about D&D instead of something that's actually important. Well, who cares what's important? What I like, it's what I like. And you know what? If nobody else is going to talk about it, I'm going to talk about it. So, why not? Anyway, this is me signing off. Thanks for showing up, Neutral. It's only the beginning. It's only going to get really interesting from here, more interesting. So, thank you very much. I'm Lance Vispel Magister Extraordinaire Otsu Maho signing off.